Welcome to the Capital K Knitting Podcast. My name is Bethany, and this is take 3. At the moment, none of my neighbors are blowing their leaf blowers, and my kids are upstairs watching a show. And maybe because I've done at least the first 5 minutes of this a couple of times now, it'll go faster. I don't know. I have my little drink here. It's still pretty hot, so I haven't had any of it, but this mug was a gift to me from my friend Janelle. She, I think, is from Anthropology years and years ago, but I have always loved it, and it's just, super artsy fartsy, I feel like, and I use it all the time. It's like the perfect volume for me. I like littler cups because I don't drink things when they're super hot. It just burns my mouth and I don't enjoy it. So by the time it's at a good temperature for me, if I have a really big cup, then the bottom of it's all cold, so I have to reheat it anyway, so I might as well just have a littler vessel. So that's a really great option for me. Anyway, let's get into the knitting, because I have been trying to find space to sit down and kind of sort out where we're at with projects and what's going on. I have one finished object, and that's accidental, but that doesn't matter. The mostly because it's a new cast on and it's also an FO, so all of the other, you'll see how ridiculous it is in a minute. Anyway, we're going to start out with the big knitting, because this knit has taken over my life. If you have any questions about the podcast, feel free to leave a comment below. Also, you can check the description box. I have links and Ravelry project pages and things like that down there. Also, the winner of the giveaway, for the subscriber giveaway, I'm going to put your comment here from the last episode. I will send that prize off to you as soon as I hear from you with your address. Please contact me through Instagram or through my email, and those 2 links will be in the description box also. Congratulations, by the way. And here we go. This is a test knit by Kelsey of Knitting Nikabi. This is called the Chained Oblivion cardigan. And oh my goodness, look at this. Look at these cables. Aren't they beautiful? Oh my goodness. Okay, cables. Like, and she's got this whole pearl background with these knit outline stitches, seed stitch body with this like faux seam going on here. I adore it. Number one, the seed stitch keeps me engaged the whole time. If it were stockinette through the whole thing, I know I would have gotten bored on this body. With any large project, there are ebbs and flows, right? So by the end of this body, which I knit 4 more inches than the suggested length in the pattern, just because I like a longer cardi. Then so this is where my little progress keeper is. That is the suggested length for the body. That's a little too cropped for me. I don't wear a lot of dresses or like I wear high-waisted jeans. That's fine, but I don't usually wear my shirts tucked in either. Lots of layers. I love lots of layers. So this is great. And I've got a duck butt. I don't know, y'all have, do any of y'all have duck butt? So like if you, like there's this space in the small of your back where like your shoulders are here and the small of your back is here. So like it just a draft comes up your back if your sweater doesn't hit a certain point on your butt. That's the issue I have a lot of times with cardigans that are too short. So this one is a little bit longer, which is great. She told us we could adjust the length of anything. Just keep track of our yardage, which is good. I do stutter occasionally. I try to make light of it. Don't worry about it. We're just going to move on. And I just finished the body last night. Oh my goodness, what a rush, right? I've been looking forward to finishing the body for honestly a couple weeks now. But you know, when you're like delusional and you're like, oh, I'm sure I'm almost done. And you like measure and you're like, no, well, what if no, you won't want it that short. Keep going. And you're like, okay, cool. And you go another like 8 rows and you're like, okay, now. And you look at it and you're like, no, that's, you just keep going. Just keep swimming. So, that little ball of yarn just fell down. That's okay. That's okay. The yarn that I'm using is yarn by Karen Feller. I don't know if you say it Nua, because it looks like all one word there, Nua, but it's all capitalized on the back, N-U-A, sport. It is 60% merino wool, 20% yak, and 20% linen. It comes in 50-gram hanks. So it's 140 meters or 153 yards per 50 grams. And I'm using the color 9816, which is called Harvest Moon. That's how we get this good pumpkin-y color. Okay. The yarn is really great. I think just the blend of the wool and the yak and the linen makes it really hard wearing. I've had a Musselburgh for a couple of years now. I wear it all the time. I absolutely love it. I put Surrey alpaca on the inside with it, and it's just a really great hat. I even got paint. Can you see that? Paint on the bottom here, and I still just put the paint part like in the back so that it kind of folds down like that. I wear it all the time. I love it so much. I need to re-soak it and try and get this paint off, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm in the middle of soaking a couple of sweaters right now and trying to reset my knits for the fall. It feels very autumnal over here. We're doing stuff. So here's the thing, right? I have this test knit to finish. I need to cast on my dad's cardigan because I'd really like for that to be done by January. I also have yarn that I have wound up for my son's cardigan that I am delusionally thinking that I'll be able to get that done by Christmas. And then I have a cast on that I really, really love to do, but I'll probably do that after as January is starting. It'll probably be one of my first 2024 cast-ons. The Nature's Cardigan by Ozetta is so beautiful to me. I just traded my campfire cardi that I have been using in the winter for a couple of years now. I absolutely love it. It was very, very functional because of the yarn that I used. I used Let Lopi and Holst yarn with it. And it was just like hydrophobic and kept me really warm. And I loved the function of that piece. I didn't like the shape, and I didn't like how it was like shorter than I wanted it to be, and there was no way to close it. It's an open cardigan, so I kept like belting it and stuff and making it work, but I knew that if I gave it away, then I would make a better version of what I want for that, because it wouldn't be available to me. And that's very true. Ever since I sent it off in the mail, I've been obsessed with putting the Nature's Cardigan on my needles. I am absolutely obsessed with the fabric that Any Knits just made for her zipper sweater by Petite Knit. It's just so scrumptious, and I was so delighted by I love her podcast in the first place, but there's also like the way that she describes her process and like the fabric and how things are coming together. It's just really helpful for me. And I think podcasts in general are helpful for that, right? Like, even if you don't want what the other person is making, their modifications, their fabric choices, their, likes and dislikes, it gives you all this information that can help you sort out what you like and you don't like, and the pieces that you want to keep. And oh my goodness, the fabric that she created for that zipper sweater is something that I want to keep. So I ordered some cashmere from Magpie Fibers, and I'm going to be pairing that with a double strand of Nutidin and do the Nature's Cardigan. Okay, 11 minutes in and I've already been interrupted twice. We're just going to keep going. It's okay. The Nature's Cardigan is like, I really, really want to do it. So, but it's unreasonable. My expectations for myself are unreasonable. So I'm trying to up the ante with my timeline, and I was trying to see if I could get the Chained Oblivion cardigan done before I left on our trip to California, which is in 8 days. That's just not, I just started one of the sleeves. I'm not even, it's not, that's ridiculous. Maybe for other people that would be possible, but I would not be able to do anything else, like even sleep, if that were what was going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I would, though, I'm reassessing my goals, and I would like to have the sleeves done. That would be nice, so that it's like all one piece by the time I get on the plane. Then I'd have like less stuff to bring, I feel like. That would be nice. We'll see if we get to that point. I'll keep you posted. The FO for this podcast episode is this pair of socks. Aren't they just, they're just so scrumptious. They are a 64 stitch sock. I did them toe up 2 at a time on the same magic loop needle. Who am I? What is happening? I really do like cuff down socks more. I'm more comfortable with them, more familiar with them, but this was really fun, and I'm planning on doing the rest of the kids' socks this way for this process, because these are for his stocking for Christmas. I used the rest of the skeins that I had of Peyton's Croy in the blue stripe rag colorway, and this is all of it. This is every bit of the leftover skeins from the pair of socks that I made myself. I love that pair of socks. I have been a fangirl of Peyton's Croy for a long time. They're more of a sport weight yarn, and I like that. I like a denser sock, so I don't change my needle size or anything. I just let them be denser. And this heel and cuff are a green. Sorry, I'm having trouble dealing with the light here. Is it this one? If I do this one, would it make it better? Maybe. I didn't even realize this was like in my way. We're gonna try. Is this going to make it better? Okay. So this green, I don't know if that made it better. This green that we have here is the Artemis colorway by Moonstone Dye Works. I did another pair of socks with this as well, and I've put it in different projects, little bits here and there, because I had a 100-gram skein at the beginning. But now that is the last of the Peyton's Croix skeins and the very last of the Artemis skeins. So I was able to just use all of it up, and for me that is like the most satisfying thing. I absolutely love it. I had to do a little bit of color management on my it's self-striping, you shouldn't have to, right? But you can see this light blue stripe, there's barely any of it there, and that's because that was the end of the skein. There wasn't anything left. So this part was the part that I pulled off to make the socks match for the first pair of socks. So they still are quite matchy, but there's just that little bit of that blue stripe. Isn't that funny? It barely made a row around. Actually, it didn't even. There's like one stitch there that it didn't make it. So one row of light blue, but they're perfect for him. There's just like, I had him try them on and lied to him and said they were for his cousin. So, I did a Jenny's Surprisingly Stretchy bind off. I know a lot of people don't like how that flares out, but as you can see, mine doesn't really flare out because I knit so tightly, and that's why that bind off really works for me. So yeah, these are all done. I'm keeping them in my little gift basket. I also cast on a pair of socks for my daughter. I don't think this is really working. A pair of socks for my daughter. They are these rainbow socks. I'm starting with the purple so that it will go up, you know, and so it'll look Roy G. Biv as you go along. So I put these in two different balls, two different cakes. I have this contrast toe going on, which is great because it is yarn that I've had in stash forever. I will put what the name of the yarn is because I forget it, and it's also a little bit hard to pronounce for me. But I've had this frogged for a while, and I've just been wanting to use it up. And that is why those were finished. Those self-striping socks were finished because my fingering weight leftovers, I felt like they were kind of hanging over me. I don't know if anybody else experiences this, but this is my little thing of fingering weight scraps or leftovers, and the lid wouldn't close. The lid wouldn't close because there was too much in there. So I did the Peyton's Croix socks over here. I also cast on another self-striping one of Peyton's Croix, but I only got to here for those. These are the Sidewalk Chalk stripe colorway, and then I just had some flax, just a couple rows of flax left, so I put that on top of these as well. This is as far as I got before I ran out. So these are obviously going to be a pair of scrappy socks, and they are just waiting for more scraps to be added to them. But because I got those done and I got these done, well, done-ish. I finished knitting that yarn, and then I started working on these. Now the lid will close, which is great and makes me feel a lot better. I'm trying to get those done for Lil J, and then I will be, I just will have these left over. So I have two more kids that I would need to make socks for, and I think I will make I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not sure. I held these two together for a project recently, and that came out really nicely, so I might do that again. But these four are either self-patterning or self-striping yarn, and so I don't, I would just like for them to be striped the way they are supposed to be. This one I might turn into a muscle burrow. I don't know. So I have one pair of socks done, which I replaced with this other pair of socks on the needles. I also have the scrappy pair of socks. This is just a project bag I've made for myself, by the way, which actually is another FO. I finished like 5 project bags, and I'm really proud of myself because they were just sitting on my desk for the longest time, because I was working on them a couple of years ago when my father-in-law died, and I don't know what it was about it. Like, he didn't know about the project bags. He didn't, but because there was like this emotion attached to it, I didn't want to work on them. I didn't want to finish them. And so the ones that there were problems with, I just threw away, and the easy ones I finished up. So this one I finished and has the, has the scrappy pair in there. And so whenever I get more yarn, I guess I will add it to there. And then with this one is like a dino pattern on there. And I absolutely love it. And I have another pair of socks on this. Actually, I had to go out to the van to get the other sock because it had fallen under the passenger seat. I was planning on knitting on them quite a bit when I was on our camping trip. I brought the cardigan and I brought a pair of socks. And then, oh my goodness, I was even planning on doing like this cute little video about how I brought all these knits camping and stuff. And then it ended with me having this horrible migraine and we had to leave early. So that didn't happen. But I'm making some color palette socks and I'm using different minis for that. There's like this really dark purple at the top, and then of course there's this lighter purple, and then there's an even more different purple combination going on there. I have more minis that I can add to it if I want, and I think my placement is going to be a little different than I thought. I think these purples will last me through the leg, but if you look at the twist on this, this is not what I would say is like a sock yarn. I don't think it has any nylon in it, and just the twist isn't high enough for it to be a sock yarn if it's not going to have nylon in it, in my opinion. I know some people even make socks out of Nutiden, but I'm not in that space for myself. So I've got some little minis that were given to me in a swap. Oh my goodness, there we go. But some of them are more of a sock yarn feel and twist there. So I'm going to be using those for the heels and the ball of the foot and the toe. That's whatever I have left over, maybe I'll put in the leg of another sock because those don't obviously have the same wear and tear as the heels and the sole and everything. So I'm using those minis, and then I'm also using this gray as my kind of contrast, like the lines that go in between for those color palette socks. By the way, the color palette socks are a free pattern, so if you like them, just go download them. This is Cascade Heritage Sock, this gray. It's a lighter gray than is coming up now. The colors are having trouble today because, here we go, that's a little better. It's a little lighter than that. It is color 5631, which apparently is gray. And yeah, so that's sock on the needles number 3. Now you would think, Bethany, that's not so bad. 3 pairs of socks on the needles. Meh. You're right. It's not so bad. But I still have the banana sock in socks, which I haven't really worked on. So we're not really going to address those. But that's pair of socks number 4. That's on the needles. Then we have our grannies in a row socks, which I have worked on. I got to the end of the gusset decreases on this one. So, by the way, any socks that I've talked about today are 64 stitch circumferences on 2.25 millimeter needles. I love using ChowGoo needles, so those are the only needles I have right now. I used to have another one, but it broke. So now all I have are ChowGoo needles for socks. And that's totally fine. So these are the grannies in a row socks. I have the gusset decreases done on this one, and then I am through the heel on this one. I would really love, oh no, I've lost a stitch. Heavens above, what shall we do? Hang on. I would really like to have these off my needles soon. I've been neglecting them because I have other things that I kind of have a deadline, even if it's arbitrary for me. But I think I'm just going to put these in my bag and work on them whenever I can. I was working on the Christmas stocking socks for Jack earlier because, the scraps just had a hold on me. And I knew that when I finished these, I wouldn't be taking away from those scraps. I'd be adding to them, which is fine. It's fine. But the lid wasn't closing, guys, and it was bothering me. So, anyway, I am holding, let's see, do I have them in there? No. This is a Happy Feet yarn. It's got, oh, look at the little sun glare there. That'll go away in a minute. This is a Happy Feet yarn. It's a variegated, it's got black and blue and green and purple in there. So it knits up really fun, if you can see it. And then the cream, like the pinky cream there, is a teeny button colorway called Bar Talk. I absolutely love it. I don't have very much of it left, but I've been just putting it in little projects here and there. It's so scrumptious. Her base is a 75-25 merino nylon base, but for some reason it feels better. I like it. This one is a 90-10 merino nylon base, which is really soft, and I'm very curious how it wears. I've made a pair of socks for my mom in these, and she washes them constantly. Like, I tried to tell her that you don't need to wash them that often, and she was like, ew. And so she still does. So I'm gonna wear these for a while. I wear my hand knit socks all the time. I really don't wear any other socks unless I'm going to the gym, and to be honest, that's not very often. So I wear hand knit socks constantly. Even though I only have like 7 pairs for myself, I still wear them all the time. So this edition will be very fun. I did measure for the boots that I wear all the time. I did measure to make sure that like the little crochet squares would be above the edge of my boot when I wear them. So that's cute. And yeah, I will put the color number for this one on the screen because I can't remember what that color number is for the Happy Feet yarn. And so that is sock pair number 5 that's on the needles. That's all I have actually cast on. However, I have this sock bag that has a pair of DK socks ready to go at any moment, just in case I feel like casting something on. And then I also have this lovely yarn, which is a self-striping yarn from Freckled Whimsy. I have heard such good things about that yarn, and now I understand, rightfully so. Now I'm just even feeling this yarn, and I'm like, I understand the hype. I get it. So this is obviously an acquisition. This is Freckled Whimsy's Splendid base, and it was her October club. It's called Hagrid's Pumpkin Patch. How cute is that? I wanted it to be my November 1st. Oh, I do have the Happy Feet yarn. It's color 16. Why are these here and not in the bag? I'm obviously on top of things. I'll put that back in. Her Splendid base is an 85-15 merino nylon base. It is 437 yards per 100 grams. I'm very excited. I think I'm going to get 2 pairs of socks out of that cake of yarn. And I wanted it to be my November 1st cast on because I just love November 1st. There's something about it. There's something about it being fall and it being no longer socially appropriate to just scare people at random that I really like. I know there are a lot of spooky people out there who just love it, who love everything about Halloween, and that's great. And I think that's necessary because, yeah, nobody else needs to be in my shoes around that, but I really, really like that not being the case. So 5 pairs of socks on the needles, 2 just at the ready for whenever it hits me, right? Which is unnecessary. Unnecessary. And I don't know that I'll get any of them done in the next month. I have to focus on my test knit because that needs to be done before the end of the month. And then anything, like any extra time that I have right now, if I'm overachieving on the test knit and getting it done before it's due, then I'll just need to cast on my dad's sweater, really, and get that done. I don't know. I'm trying to build in like breaks for myself around it, around deadlines and stuff, but I'm not good at it. I just keep saying like, oh yeah, once you get the body done, then like take the day off and work on something else. And I totally just cast on the sleeve and kept going because, anyway, that's okay. That's okay. We'll work it out. The next thing I have on the needles is a muscle burra. I know you're so surprised, right? They're just so rare for me. I'm totally joking. Okay, this is I'm holding 2 yarns together. This is a Malabrigo yarn in the Machita base, which is superwash merino, just a 100% superwash merino. Oh, come on. And then, it's called the Moon Trio Full. So you can see there's these speckles in there that are red and yellow and blue, just like the full moons, when they happen. And this is 420 yards per 100 grams. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Machita base Malabrigo. 697 Moon Trio Full. And I'm holding it together with the Magpie Plume cashmere lace base. And when I tell you that it's just creating the most yummy fabric, oh my goodness. I am just, look at that. Look at that. Oh, I love when the sun is like shining through it. That's just really nice. So I finished my increases and I was struggling with just the diameter of it. I was wondering if it was right because I have it on a 2.75 millimeter needle, which for me gives me I think 8 stitches. It gives me 1 more stitch per inch than the highest stitches per inch on the pattern. So I had to kind of zhuzh my sizing around a little bit. I also am using a new needle brand to me. I've heard of them a lot. So this is on a US 2, but it's like on a Cubics. It's these square needles. Can you see? They've got these corners. So they're supposed to be really good for your fingers. And I've heard really good things about them from the people that have used them. I really think and it is nice on this, even though it's a fixed needle, the needle size is on both needles. That's really nice. That's not always the case. So I've got my little increases there. I know it does not look big enough for me. And honestly, I'm not sure if it is. The last time that I did a hat with this gauge, I didn't trust the stitch counts and I added more stitches. And then I blocked it. It was super super wash yarn. It was super wash yarn. And after I blocked it, it wasn't as snug on my head as I would have liked it to be. So I'm just trying to kind of trust the process here and make sure that I just do it. And then honestly, if it doesn't work out, what I'll probably do is go up a needle size next time. I don't like that fabric as much, but that's okay. I would rather have something that fits my head. Or what I could do is, I really do like the DK weight muscle burras that I've made. So I might just, go up a needle size and a yarn weight to make what I'm wanting to make. Okay, I'm gonna put that down. It is so scrumptious though. And I got it to pass the increases because I knew that there would be a place where I needed some stockinette in the round. I occasionally go on dates to the movies with my husband, and when we do that, I love having something in the round that I can do while the movie's going on. And if it's a really exciting movie, I get a lot done, which is fun. I have nothing new on my anthology throw on there. I am excited about adding something new on it once I get, to the point where I have another scrap to put on it. But this half and half wrap has had some work. So I cast on 200 stitches for this puppy, and it doesn't look very big, but I really think once it gets off the needles, it's going to be bigger. So I cast on 200 stitches because the yarn that I'm using is Goodwill from Pearl Soho, and the yardage is, instead of, maybe it's a sport weight yarn instead of a fingering weight yarn, but I thought it was a fingering weight yarn when I was looking at it in the skein, right? So then I had plans to make it, set it aside, had plans to make it, and then looked at the label and it said it was 383 yards per 100 grams. And I was like, oh, that's not, I thought it'd be like closer to 400. So I still really love the fabric that's coming up with it, but I only cast on 200 stitches instead of, I think it's 260, like 190 versus 260 or something. I don't remember. It's a free pattern, so you can look up the stitch counts if you want. But anyway, I am almost done with the first 100 grams. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I love the variation in this yarn. It's like got blue and gray and, yeah, almost white in there. It's really beautiful. And it is going to be on the screen because I can't remember the name. Something about the moon. And then the other color that I have for it is, ooh, this one. It's like a purpley gray, and it's called Coastal Tides, which I really, really like. Man, the colors today. They just want to be in the sun. They just want to be blown out in the sun. But there's these blue purpley tones in here, which I really like. So I am excited to have potentially, to have this skein done soon. I have worked my way up to, I've done the short rows for 75 of the 200 stitches. And of course the rows get shorter as you go. I really enjoy working on this project, and I don't know if I'll ever make another one because it seems to be taking me forever to do this one. And that's because I was using it to sit with my kids while they fell asleep in their room. It was really nice because I knew that if I got to at the beginning, if I did even 2 rows, my kids would fall asleep. That would be long enough for them to fall asleep. Now it's more like 3 or 4, but it's really nice for me to have a project that I can work on in spaces where my kids just need me to sit there and do nothing. Like they just want me to be there. And that is boring and sometimes frustrating for me. So it's really nice for me to be able to have something to work on in those spaces. And it's actually really cute because now when they'll say, Mom, can you sit with us? Why don't you just go grab your knitting? I'm like, that's a great idea. I'll go do that. I'll be right back. And it's just really sweet. And they fall asleep to the clickety clack of, me working on my half and a half. So that's nice. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on the needles over here, but there isn't. There isn't anything else. I will share a couple of acquisitions that I have for you real quick. I got a Portland leather little bag. I knew it was going to be an Oceans bag for me, but it's just really, really great. It smells so good. And I got some shoes and a handbag from them that I really like, that are just really durable. So I got this as well, and it has just been wonderful. And I think I'm going to like it even more when we go on our trip in a little over a week, so that I can just have everything that I need right here. Another little accessory that I got was this needle case from Lewis Sewing. They have an Etsy shop, and I just have all of these needles in here now. My DPNs, my crochet hooks, my 9-inch circulars, a couple of long circular needles in there as well. I love the fabric here. I love the size of the, what am I trying to say? The size of the pouches, the little slots in there. And it came to me pretty quickly. I didn't realize it was international shipping for me. I just assumed that they were in the States, but that is not the case. And it was still really quick. So that was really nice. And oh, I folded this really prettily before, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, here we go. Try one more time. I really like it that I can just have everything all in one space. I had my crochet hooks stashed in this like turny thing before, and my fixed needles were on just like a nail in my yarn room because I wanted to be able to see what I had. And now I'm just like, no, let's just put this away, because if I can see it, I'll probably cast it on, and I don't need that right now. I also got a making journal that I posted a reel about. I'll put it right here real quick. It's so gorgeous. I am so excited to use it for next year, but I have stashed it away somewhere so that I wouldn't use it right away. And I absolutely love it. Oh man, I think that's it for us today. That's all I have on the needles, and I need to get cracking on the sleeve again. My kids, as beautiful as they are, have interrupted me. Every time the video has stopped, it's because they've interrupted me while I've been trying to do this. And showing up imperfectly. It's okay, right? It's okay. We'll just keep repeating that until I see you again. If you made it to the end, leave an emoji in the comments. You know I love knowing who made it to the end. And I'll see you next time. Bye.